this once before, when I was just doing, I don't think it was a lo-fi video. I think I had a Seal Sound microphone, but we've since upgraded to Blue Yeti, and I just got this fluffy mic. I just ran up and down the stairs to grab my glasses, so I'm out of breath. It's a good thing that I have this fluffy mic. I love it. Haley Jean has a fluffy mic, so I had to get a fluffy mic. Okay, I'm just gonna put my glasses on, and you'll have to excuse the glare. I just need them to read. They're reading like up close glasses. So I just searched it up, and we have a few that have come up that are really popular. So okay, this one is, am I the asshole for leaving a family gathering and taking the cake with me after getting my feelings hurt? Let's see if this is a valid crash out. Hopefully it's crash out. I, 20F female, hit 1 year sober from alcohol at the beginning of the year. This was a huge accomplishment for me. It was bigger to me than finishing college. I told my family that next time we were together for family dinner, I had something to celebrate. This all happened at my mom's. The kids were playing and the adults were hanging out. I took the moment to share that I'd reached 1 year sober and how good I felt about it. Congratulations, girl. They went with, oh, that's what you were talking about, and has it been a year already? I'm embarrassed to admit, I hoped someone would say they were proud of me. I'm proud of you. That's a big thing. My brother-in-law, Steve, looked at my sister and they both said, well, at the same time. And she said, since we're all here, my niece just got into a specific gymnastics thing. It's been a long road, but she did it. Steve popped some wine they'd brought and started giving everyone glasses / cups. He made eye contact with me and his face fell. I had this gnawing feeling, so got up from the table. I took a walk. I tried to get through the moments mentally so I could be present for my niece to celebrate her success. But when I got back to the house, my sister asked me why I left without saying anything. I said I needed a minute to myself. She looked at me funny and said, okay. I said I'd shared something I was very proud of, and she bulldozed over it. My mom put her hand up and asked me what my news was. I said that I told him I hit 1 year sober. Mom said my generation always wanted a praise for doing the bare minimum. That wasn't an accomplishment. It was just what I needed to do, like graduating high school. I tried to make it through dinner, but found myself just not in the mood anymore. I decided to go home. Here's the direct thing I'm being called a butthead for. I'd brought a small berry chantilly cake, her favorite, to share after dinner. It was the thing I decided I earned. The kids had definitely seen it on my way out, but I decided to take it home with me. I guess when they realized the cake wasn't in the garage fridge anymore, my sister called to ask me why I took it. I said I did because it was my cake to celebrate my accomplishment. She said, word for word, are you effing serious? Oh my god, Emma, grow up. You are such a effing baby. My mom later texted me directly to tell me how disappointed she was we don't need to go into the edit. Honestly, it was our cake to begin with, so if you don't like being at your family gathering, just leave. Just leave. From personal experience, your family is not always the most supportive, and they're not always your friends. So if you're feeling some sort of way at a family gathering, or even just at your mom's house, your dad's house, or with your siblings, cousins, aunts, grandparents, whatever it may be, just leave. And if you brought cake, bring it back home. That's yours. And eat it as a celebration for leaving something that was probably a difficult situation. That's my take on that. Oh, am I the asshole for punishing my family by no longer doing birthdays, holidays, vacations, because my dad screwed me and my wife over? Oh, and that's funny. They have little labels at the top if they're labeled asshole. Oh, I didn't mean to say it that loud. Asshole or not the asshole. The last one was labeled not the asshole. And I'm gonna tell you what label this is after I've read the story. So, it says, my wife and I were talking about getting married. My dad said that he would give us a down payment for a home. We were thrilled and kept that in mind. We will be able to afford a good starter home with his help. We were scrimped and saved to add to it, except apparently he meant a sum of money good for a down payment for a house near us, where the cost of living is low. He did not even mean a down payment for a home in Colorado, where my wife and I have lived since we were in college. He said he thought that I would be smart enough to realize that we'd need to move somewhere with a lower cost of living than Colorado. He keeps saying, move to a cheaper city. Our lives are here, our friends, our jobs, our hobbies. You can't exactly leave your house and be up on top of a 14,000 feet peak in 6 hours where my family is. I told him that we had never talked about moving back there, and we never would. That we would rather be stuck renting for a while longer than be stuck somewhere we didn't want to be, and the move to a cheaper city wouldn't work for us. He said, so be it, and gave us the amount, and that was that. I expressed gratitude and thanked him for the money. It is still towards the goal. Well, because of this shift in our finances, we had to make a lot of changes to save up the rest of the money. We have had to cut out vacations, birthday gifts, holidays, etc. We won't be traveling home for a few years. At our current rate, we should have an okay down payment by the end of next year, 2025. So this year, as I'm reading this, my dad confronted us about this because we won't come for a summer break trip and told me that I was being a selfish, entitled brat because I hadn't gotten my way. That I was essentially punishing the rest of the family because we assumed what his gift would be. And assumed in quotation marks. I told him that I was grateful for the amount he gave us, but that it means we do need to buckle down and save every penny if we want to be able to afford a house anytime soon. Even townhouses around us are easily over $400,000, and that's for the sketchy ones. But is my dad right? Am I the asshole? So this was labeled as asshole. I'm honestly not really sure how to feel about this one. It's kind of boring, if I'm being honest. I'm just confused because you're saying that still then not be able to do birthdays, holidays, and vacations? Or is that kind of just something you're using to kind of like guilt trip your dad? To say, oh, we can't come see you this summer because you didn't give us the full amount of a down payment. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Oh, am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law to get over herself and stop trying to one-up us? Oh, this one's pretty short too. Yes, we love someone that can get to the point. Okay. Throwaway account. My 29M wife 27F and her sister 30F got pregnant around the same time. Okay. The babies are the first of a new generation on their side of the family, so everyone was excited. Sister-in-law was further along, but my wife ended up giving birth on week 32. Wow, 6 weeks early. Yeah, I had to think about that one Kylie Jenner video. She's like, I'm 34 weeks today, only about a month left. I don't know, I've never been pregnant, so, okay. Moving on. She had some complications that had her hospitalized. My nephew was born 2 weeks later at full term. Apparently, sister-in-law was resenting having her thunder stolen and felt like she and her new baby weren't getting enough attention. She keeps making these comments like she's trying to one-up us. First, she was saying how sorry she was that my wife missed the golden hour because they had to take our son to the NICU. This upset my wife since during her hospitalization, this is so off topic, but my one friend used to have this boyfriend who couldn't pronounce certain words, so he would say hospital instead of hospital, and I've kind of just been saying hospital, and I nearly said it then, and it kind of messed up the rest of the word. Anyways, during her hospitalization, she was often too sick to visit the NICU, and she's already feeling crappy about missing skin to skin on those first few weeks. After we started to bring our son to the family gatherings, sister-in-law started comparing the boys. Saying how much bigger and more alert her son looks like compared to ours and how he hit more milestones. Way to rub friggin' salt in the wound. People are so insensitive. Last weekend, we had lunch at my in-laws. My wife and I were excited to tell everyone that our son laughed for the first time earlier that day. He's 5.5 months old. 3.5 corrected. I don't know what that means. Okay, anyways, we're gonna assume he's 5.5 months old. Mother-in-law and father-in-law were having a good time watching the video when sister-in-law made another comment about how her son did that a month ago. I don't know why that was the last straw, but I just about had it. I told sister-in-law that she's pathetic for trying to one-up a freaking baby. That her full-term son wasn't special for being more developed than a preemie. That she should get the F over not giving birth to the first grandbaby. Needless to say, this ruined lunch, and my wife's family is pissed. I admit I was harsh with my words and tone, but this was the first time I confronted her family like this. Up until now, we'd each handle our own relatives, but these comments upset my wife and pissed me off. So am I the asshole for being so harsh and not staying in my lane? No, honestly, I would want my man to do the same for me, were we in that situation, because that sister was definitely making his wife so upset. And Maybe I'll film that after this. I searched up videos of blowing into the mic, and it's insanely relaxing. Okay, I'm going to read one more thread. So I need to pick a good one. Oh, this. Yup. Okay, this one is also pretty short. Am I the asshole for keeping score of everything I've ever done for my husband? That sounds like a healthy relationship. I have to burp. I'm a woman in my late 50s, married to my husband, early 60s. We've been married for 30 odd years. Okay. I'm so confused by what she means by that. I've fulfilled the role of a traditional wife for much of our marriage, and I left paid work soon into our marriage. My husband is very successful in his business, and we live comfortably. All our children are adults now. My husband built his business from the ground up, and I was instrumental to the early success which set it up to be what it is today. We were having lunch with our children when my son mentioned that his wife didn't want to be a trad wife and do what I did to raise the kids. She raised concerns about how vulnerable a position it is and that she doesn't want to solely depend on him for money. He warned me to talk to her and convince her by telling her how it had worked out for me. I said I understood where she was coming from, and being a housewife is incredibly risky and vulnerable, especially if he leaves her and she's been out of the labor force for a while. He countered that it had worked for his father, and because I trusted him as my husband to provide for me, and why couldn't his wife do the same? I told him I have a meticulous record for all Okay, Mike. Can y'all let me know why it's been doing that? Okay. I told him I have a meticulous record of all contributions I have ever made to the family business, recently digitized with the help of my daughter, so that if the worst ever happened, I wouldn't be relying on the mercy of a man to feed myself. I told him I have made many contingency plans over the years to minimize the risk of being a housewife and compensate for my lack of pension and benefits I'd have had I not left the labor force. My son and husband were angered by this. Both said it showed a lack of trust, and my husband especially feels I've had one foot out the door our entire marriage, and that my little escape plan included plans to shaft him of his business. I told him the fact that he refers to it as his business rather than ours is exactly why I kept those records, and why I won't be telling my daughter-in-law to do what she doesn't want to do. No, this woman is not the asshole. You have to look out for yourself in any situation. You really just do. And I think that if a woman wants to become a stay-at-home mom or just a housewife, when her partner is making most of the money, or is making enough to allow her to do so, that is great. was lashing, and this one woman had written in their marriage agreement, I don't know the specifics of like how that works, but she had written that if he cheated on her, that, they would get divorced, but that he had to give her half of everything he owned. And he basically owned a bunch of dentistries, and this was in the year like 2005. And so they had millions of dollars, like they were making $200,000 a month back in 2005. So can you imagine how much money that is? And anyway, he was cheating on her. He was having an affair with this woman, and instead of them divorcing and him owing her money, he murdered her. And then he collected on her life insurance of $5 million plus more. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read one more short thread because the title sounds interesting, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me. 6, 7 little mini paragraphs or sentences. So it says, am I the asshole for yelling at my friends and leaving dinner after they all made fun of me and gave me a gay intervention? Okay. I, 21F, went out to dinner with 5 friends, 1 guy and 4 girls. For context, I look very masculine. I have short hair, a deep voice, don't wear makeup, in a masculine style. Sometimes I get mistaken for a man, usually if it's by someone I'm never gonna see again, like a cashier or a waiter. I don't really care to correct them. My friends and I were having dinner at a nice fancy place, and the waiter came to our table and he mistook me for a man. One of my friends responds, "Oh, she's not a man, she's just a lesbian." Everyone laughs and the waiter apologized. After he left, I asked my friend, "Why would you say that? I have never said or indicated in any way that I'm a lesbian." That's such a good trigger word. Sorry. Because I'm not. I've never had a boyfriend. But that's because I'm not interested in a romantic relationship. But we have talked about male celebrities that we find attractive. I thought it was clear that I was straight. My friend just rolled her eyes at my question and said, "Oh, come on, we all know you're a lesbian." I was shocked. More friends jumped in and said, "Yeah, you don't have to lie to us." I wasn't lying. They started making jokes about me dressing like a lesbian, hiding my sexuality, being in a glass closet. Everyone knows it's 2025, no one cares, etc. It all seemed like it wasn't a joke, and they actually believed it. One of my friends, Ava, even joked, "You were obviously in love with Inez." I showed genuine shock at this remark, and she reassured me, "It's okay. We all don't mind if you're gay." Inez was an on and off childhood friend of mine, and our friendship ended badly a few months ago. I was very upset by it and confided in my friends. I never thought that they would use it against me. I told them firmly that I'm not a lesbian. This isn't funny, and I was not in love with Inez. Once they saw I was being serious about this, their tone and attitude became less jokey. They started lecturing me on self-acceptance, being in denial, internalized homophobia, serious regret. I don't know what to say to them or what to do. No, I don't think that this girl is the asshole. I don't think that your style when it comes to your hair, your face, your clothes has anything to do with sexuality or gender. It's all just like social norms, and I think that people don't always like when they can't put you in a box. And so for them, seeing a straight woman kind of dressing more manly or masculine is the better term, is kind of strange, so they just have to assume that she's lesbian, but that's not always the case. It doesn't matter what gender or what sexuality. You can dress masculine, you can dress feminine. It doesn't determine anything of what you are. It's just a style that you like. I remember growing up, I used to dress a lot more masculine than I do now. And my one friend told me, actually, she said that, I started to dress more feminine after I started dating my boyfriend. And I think that's true. I think that, I just liked dressing and being a little bit more masculine. I remember I never wore any makeup or did my hair. And I always